and then we'll figure something out. Got a double, baby. Yours is much nicer fish. Okay, all right. There's a delicate dance between a net man and the angler, and we were not in sync.
Good man.
Some Nemo's on all your fish now. I see how.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know. I see how your YouTube videos work.
Check it out, guys. I didn't catch this fish. Cade caught it, but it's pretty. Go. Get going, girl. There you go.
A+ release.
Holy smokes, that looks delicious. Oh, there we go. Sweet. Oh, they were good. I wanted to do that. Nope.
How'd you drop it?
Yeah, there she goes.
You get it?
Alright, hey there, this is Haight's Wanderings. Welcome to another video. This is a trout fishing video. I asked you guys last year on Instagram, what do you want to see more of? And people said, catching trout. So this spring in the Upper Peninsula, that is what I planned on doing. We already made that trout opener video and we caught some. But the water was cold, the water was high, and the water wasn't just cold, it was actually freezing out. It's currently, I believe, the 3rd week of May, and we are now truly getting into what I would consider spring in the Upper Peninsula. It's going to be 33 degrees tonight, so it's still cold. We did have a kind of a heat wave up here. But I digress. Back to trout. So, the 2nd week of trout opener, I got out and I got my raft, and it said it was my goal to catch trout in my raft. I wanted to catch browns, I wanted to catch brookies, and there are no rainbows in this river, so I just wanted to catch some browns and brookies. And as you watch this video, you're going to realize we did catch fish. So I'm going to be talking in the background, and I hope you guys just kind of like follow along with me. I'm going to show some really beautiful scenery, and I'm going to mix that in with a bit of me talking, a bit of me showing you what we fished with, and kind of explaining the day. So, started off, we didn't actually plan on fishing this stretch of water. I was planning on going somewhere else, but the water levels were not conducive to fishing anywhere else. I was a little bit worried about downed trees blocking up and creating log jams, and I was definitely worried about high water. I don't go to new areas when I don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into. It's kind of scary when you're scouting new water in the raft. A lot of the places I go are completely remote, and so I gotta, make sure that there's low water so I can get out, I can cut down trees if I need to. So, long story short, didn't go to the place I wanted to go to, but it did, the high water did present the better fishing opportunities for what I was thinking of fishing for browns. So, this trip, I invited two ex-students. You'll see Cade and you'll see Sean in the raft. Both of them are great anglers. Both of them know what they're doing. So, I put them to fishing and I was rowing. And before I even got the raft in the water at our put-in spot, Cade ended up catching a fish, a brookie, in like 2 or 3 casts. We were fishing rapalas and spinners, and a little bit of worms were used. But the truth of the matter is, we weren't fishing to keep fish, so we weren't using worms because we didn't want them to like swallow it all the way down. So from the very beginning, we had a brookie on. We knew it was going to be a good day. The water was fairly clear. I can't remember the water temps, but I think the water temps were like in the mid 40s. That sounds about right. Maybe like 46. It's now been a couple of weeks since we did this trip, so I'm trying to like jog my memory, but I believe 46 sounds about right. So good temps for cold water species, not great temps for warm water species. So obviously we weren't going to go out and target bass that day or something. The problem was though that the weather was not trout conditions. We had blazing sun, so not a single cloud in the sky, blasting sun, and it really created difficult fishing conditions. When I saw the weather report, and the weather report said abundant sunshine, you never really like abundant sunshine. Like if you're going to the beach, perfect. Fishing for trout, not perfect. I'm not a great trout angler, but I know that blasting sun can be tough conditions. So I had told the guys before we even got on the raft in the morning, I said, hey, if we catch 2 fish today, I'm going to consider it a good day. 2 fish. It'll be a perfect day. We ended up catching 15 trout, and I think we had 23 missed fish. So 15 trout, 23 missed fish, abundant sunshine. I couldn't believe it myself. It was crazy.
Tell me that doesn't look delicious right there.
That looks very deep, and down there looks like brown trout territory.
At one point during the day, we were going down and we missed a huge fish. Cade in front said he thought it was a 26-inch fish. We thought it could only be one of 3 species: pike, sucker, brown trout. We really didn't think it could be anything else. Cade feels like it might have been a pike. I personally feel like it might have been a legendary brown. But we didn't really get any. We saw it and then it was gone. We knew it was a large fish. We think it followed in on a spinner. I think that's what Cade was using at that point in time. But don't remember. All we know, it was a big fish and it got us really excited. It was kind of earlier in the day before the sun hit just straight up and down. As we progressed throughout the day, I was mostly on the oars, except for one point in time. I did put Sean on the oars for a bit, but unfortunately the water was just too fast and too shallow and too fast for him to feel comfortable on the oars, because it really is kind of tricky at times when you're rowing a drift boat and you're not 100% like kind of attuned to how the raft and the water interact with one another. At one point we were kind of getting sucked towards a tree, and it was a little bit sketchy. So I jumped out of the boat and I stopped the raft because we were unable to stop it. But it ended up being all right. I got back on the oars and I ended up catching fish. but usually it's when we anchored and then we fished a hole. It was my first time through this stretch, so it was kind of like a scouting mission, if you want to consider it that. I had I knew what to expect more or less. So it wasn't a true scouting mission to some completely untouched place, but it was fun. It was really fun. It was great to get out. At one point, we were going down the river, and I look up and I see something in the tree, and I'm like, man, that looks really weird. We're anchored because I think Cade had a brook trout that he was taking off. So I'm like, guys, look forward. What is that up there? And they said, I don't know. It looks like a clump of leaves or something. And I said, I'm pretty sure that's a turkey.
So weird, man. It like hung itself. Unless some savage hillbilly hung it up as a weird cultist tradition.
That'd be a sick joke is what it would be.
Man, that is so weird.
Actually, that'd be a waste of a resource. I'd call the DNR if that happened.
Its head got stuck.
And it hung essentially.
Man, that is so bizarre. It's not that old either. Wow, interesting. Huh, that's totally bonkers.
So we keep going down and we get a little closer, and honest to goodness, there was a turkey, and I might have video of it, a turkey that it appeared that it had like hanged itself. I guess hanged itself is proper. It hanged itself somehow in a tree, like maybe it was flying and it like hit like a spot in the tree and it got its neck stuck. But it looked really fresh, and it was a big turkey, and we couldn't figure out how it did it. Yeah, you never really know what you're going to see on the river. Throughout the day, we fished a few pools that had really good success, but we ended up finding fish in places I was not expecting them. At one point, well, rather a couple times throughout the day, we ended up catching trout in a foot or two of water out in the middle of nowhere. And personally, my knowledge of trout is very limited, but I would never expect to find brook trout in the middle of the river, in the middle of blazing sun, in the middle of the day, without any cover around. I mean, there was like some cobblestones, maybe like fist-sized cobblestones, in about 2 feet of water. But other than that, there was nothing else. And I was thinking to myself, it just didn't seem like a very trouty location. We were targeting the undercut banks. We were targeting trees being down, deeper holes. But we ended up catching fish in a couple places that just made me kind of go, why? Why would there be a fish here? So I guess that's advice for all of you. When you're out fishing and you're, trying a new place, I guess fish everywhere. Fan cast. Boom, 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 boom. Fan cast, even if you know that there isn't going to be a fish there, give it a chance, because sometimes you'll be really surprised where you find fish. Sometimes when I'm muskie fishing, I'll find fish in places and I'm just like, man, I would never expect a fish to be there, but there is, right? So, if that's the one piece of advice you get from today, fish everywhere. Never expect. Let me go back. Always expect the unexpected. Maybe that's the way. Who knows? But it was a fun day. Like I said, 15 fish for 23 additional bites. That is. So in total, we had 38 total trout bites that day. Possibly we might have missed a brown or two, but we never got one close enough. We lost a couple fish on the way to the boat that could have been browns, but probably not. What was interesting though is the worms did not seem to work. A couple times we drifted worms on a sinker through holes, and it appeared the fish wanted active presentations. They were brook trout hunting down rapalas rather than eating worms. It kind of seemed a little odd, but maybe that's normal. Maybe brookies in the spring key in on stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a warm water angler, but trout is just they're fun to catch. But I want to get a brown trout in my raft at some point in time this year. I actually have a decal for a brown trout because I think they're so beautiful, right? But I feel like a poser and putting it in my raft because I've never actually caught a brown trout in the raft. So I want to make sure that happens. You know, I've caught all the other fish in that raft except for browns. I guess I haven't caught steelhead either in the raft. Maybe we could make that a thing too. Steelhead and brown trout, it needs to happen. And maybe sturgeon too. Sturgeon would be kind of fun. All right, guys. So it looks like we're about 12 minutes into me just talking here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. There's just beautiful scenery, beautiful fish, wonderful brookies. They have this beautiful bluish, silverish sheen to them. This specific river, they look like that. And it's one of the nice things about fishing different brook trout rivers is you'll find that different rivers, the fish look different. They really do. So I think that's about it, guys. I hope you're enjoying your spring. I have just yesterday did my very first warm water float of the year, and we cranked some fish. Even though the temperatures didn't really reach much above 50 degrees, it was cold, cold, cold. Even then, we still got out and got some fish. So I'm going to be making my transition. This video probably will be the last trout video for a month or so. I kind of plan in June sometime to go back out and smash some more trout. Maybe I'll even do a catch and cook video. I haven't kept a brook trout for maybe 5 years. So you know what? I think it's time for me to keep at least one of them and make a really cool video for all of you. All right, guys. Without further ado, I think I'm signing off. I'll see you guys in the next video. Catch, release, wander. Yeah, let's get rolling. Oh, by the way, if you're still there, check out that mean farmer's tan. Woo! There you go.